Hey all, it's Jake Peg, and today I wanted to talk about Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War's Zombies mode. I love zombies, so much to the point that I rebranded my entire channel because I like it and wanted to do content for it. I'm not going to talk about multiplayer at all because that's a whole can of worms I frankly don't care enough to discuss, nor the campaign because it's a Call of Duty campaign. They haven't been good since like 2009. But I digress. Zombies is my favorite game mode in any Call of Duty. I've been playing since Black Ops 1 on Kino der Toten, although I did stop after Black Ops 3 until recently where I picked it back up again leading into Cold War. But how good is Cold War Zombies compared to the other entries in the franchise? It's a lot different and made a lot of changes to the formula, but does that make it better or worse? Well, better. A lot better at that. Like, probably the best zombie experience ever better. Previously, Black Ops 1 and 3 were my favorite experiences, and while Cold War is still in its infancy, if the DLC cycle goes well, I think it'd be the best by a mile. I mean, I wouldn't have over 3 days of game time within a month otherwise. The last Treyarch game, Black Ops 4, is probably the biggest COD flop in a while due to their hardcore focus on Blackout. The maps and game quality suffered, and while I don't think it's as bad as people made it out to be, it's certainly one of the weakest entries, if not the weakest. Now, after what was considered by many to be a failure, all eyes were on Treyarch for the next edition of Zombies, especially so since Sledgehammer was dropped and Treyarch had to pick up where they left off and cut support for Black Ops 4 prematurely. We'll never forget you, factions. And Zombies was revealed, and many were skeptical after the reveal. Not starting with a pistol? Kill streaks? Playing as operators instead of dedicated characters? This skepticism was justifiable, I believe, but if you call it quits there, you're probably not even watching this video. Or maybe you are, I don't know, I'm not your mom. Anyways, game comes out, and we're greeted with the most original Zombies experience yet. Well, mostly original. Technically speaking, Die Maschine is a remaster of Nacht der Untoten, which is the first ever Zombies map ever. However, it's more like the Nacht der Untoten featured on Transit and Revelation where it's on the map, but it's not really a main part of the map. You're barely ever actually in the part of the map that is Nacht anyways, with the best spot being on the roof, which is not on Nacht der Untoten originally. Even then, the part that is Nacht feels original, with a different look and kind of overall feel to it, especially before you turn on the power. People who say that Die Maschine is just another unoriginal remaster have clearly not played it, as it doesn't feel at all like a remaster. It feels incredibly original, and it's helped by the gameplay changes. For starters, the game guides you up to Pack-a-Punch. Previously, you had no guide but text and maybe graffiti on the wall. Pack-a-Punch previously was as simple as turning on the power on a map like Call of the Dead, or overly complicated like Dead of the Night that required doing 3 completely random tasks that included randomized locations to get 3 tuning forks to blow up a rock and fight a werewolf. But with Cold War, you drop in and you have a waypoint of where you need to go to turn on the power, and then how to get to the Pack-a-Punch piece and how to build the Pack-a-Punch machine. Some people see this as hand-holding and miss the search to figure out things on their own. While this is fair, I think it's a good change. At its core, Zombies is about surviving. Some people don't want to go through the hoops to craft something that's required for the game and just want to kill and progress through the game. With this, someone who's playing casually doesn't have to go to YouTube and look up their favorite tutorial channel JakePeg for something that should be easy to know. Hell, whenever I play Dead of the Night, I still have to look up guides for it if I ever want to Pack-a-Punch. I know I've been sitting on it a lot, but I actually really enjoy Dead of the Night. Setting up on it is just such a fucking nightmare. This guiding is good, especially for a first map. Cold War Zombies is kind of a reboot for the entire mode, with a new storyline meant to entice old players back into the mode. So by having Pack-a-Punch be simple, it lets people understand how everything in the game works. It doesn't take away from the experience at all, as Pack-a-Punching has never been a hard thing to do outside of a few maps. Looking at you, public match Shangri-La. And for a starter map, keeping things simple is what it needs to do. And this lets everyone be able to experience everything the map has to offer without having to look up all this bullshit and be told how stuff works. After you make the Pack-a-Punch, Die Maschine stops holding your hand. The only waypoint you ever get is when Exfil opens up. So if any Easter egg quests don't interest you, you don't have to do any of that. But if that's more your thing, it doesn't alienate and there's no guide for any of the Easter egg stuff. All the Die Wonder Weapon upgrades need some sort of quest just like older entries, and Die Maschine struck this perfect balance between Easter egg and survival enthusiast. And that's how it should be. It should cater to both groups rather than alienating one or the other. Someone who doesn't give a fuck about Easter eggs is going to hate a map like Zetsubou no Shima, while 90% of the main Easter egg is literally just setting up on the map. On the contrary, people who really like doing Easter eggs isn't going to like a map like Kino der Toten, where it's pretty much just a survival map. These kind of alienate the other parties, but Daimacine kind of messes those two together perfectly. The main Easter egg quest is a solid first Easter egg as well. It's got some complicated steps like other ones, like killing the fucking tank 3 times, what's up with that? But it's not too hard to deter new people from trying out Easter eggs and them becoming people who like doing the Easter egg. Daimacine does such a good job of introducing people to the zombie mechanics players have come to know and love. A lot of the new changes are welcome as well. Salvage, I personally think, is a very good form of currency, and having 2 different kinds I think help makes it so it's easier to save up for what you want, rather than having to keep grinding forever to get enough salvage for everything you want. Salvage can be used by a whole bunch of stuff, including upgrading your weapon rarity. Weapon rarity has 5 tiers: base, uncommon, rare, epic, and legendary, with each tier higher doing more damage. This change, on top of having 3 levels to pack a punch, has allowed almost every single gun to be viable and usable in high rounds. Being able to drop in with any gun takes away some of the randomness that comes with the mystery box. However, the trade-off for doing this is that it's the lowest rarity possible, meaning it has the lowest damage output and it will fall off quickly unless you upgrade it. It's a good trade-off. You can either get a guarantee but you have to work harder to get it more powerful, or you can go for the box or even wall weapons to kind of get a guarantee. The point system has probably been the most vocally criticized part of the game for players, but I actually think it's perfect. It makes points feel more valuable, and needing to buy a point weapon isn't a thing you need to do anymore. It rewards actual killing, so you don't have to slow the game down in order to just gain points. Some of the pricing is high, such as fully pack-a-punching a gun that needs fucking 50,000 points. However, if it was cheaper, it would make the game too easy. There needs to be some kind of challenge to it, otherwise it's gonna get stale really quick. In addition, every upgrade makes it feel worthwhile. You save up all those points and your guns get a noticeable boost. Progressing previously felt like it ended really fast, whereas Daimacine, it keeps you progressing throughout the game as you're upgrading your gun. There's no perk limit anymore, meaning you can buy every single perk on the map. Perk limits were something that got made trivialized by gobblegums and elixirs, and by removing the perk limit, it took out a microtransaction system which... well, who likes those? The perks took a step back and returned to a more simple format from older games, with all the classic perks returning except for, well, all but one. We'll always miss you, dude. Tombstone. Stamina Up and Deadshot Daiquiri, for whatever reason, also made a comeback with a new perk, Elemental Pop. All these perks can be upgraded in order to do more and helps give the game a kind of sense of progression outside of the actual game itself. Rather than having a set price, the first perk you buy is always 2,500, with each perk costing 500 more points than the last. This kind of balances out the lack of a perk limit, and kind of helps add a bit of strategy for which perks you want to get first and quickly. Things in Cold War are a lot more expensive, which is what makes the salvage system so good to accompany it. If it was all put into one currency, there would just be too much to buy with not enough points to do it. This also transitions into the next point I want to talk about, ammo crates. In Zombies previously, the only way you could get ammo in your gun was buying it off the wall if the gun was a wall weapon or getting a max ammo drop. You could also get it from your first pack-a-punch, but after that, you were on your own when it came to ammo. In later rounds, this led to the need to put a weapon back into the mystery box and constantly spin to try and get it again. Thanks to ammo crates, however, this need was taken away completely. If you have a low on ammo, you can just buy some more rather than going through the tedious randomness that was required before. It makes the game more streamlined while not taking anything away from the gameplay itself. The previous method wasn't fun, nor was it challenging, needing to constantly re-roll and chase down the mystery box. Sometimes it took like 20 fucking minutes just to get set up again with the guns you needed again. By having ammo crates, the issue is resolved entirely. It doesn't make the game any easier, it just makes it more convenient. The previous method wasn't hard at all, and more importantly, it wasn't fun. It's not like ammo boxes are free by any means either. When you pack-a-punch a gun, ammo gets more expensive based on the level of pack-a-punch it is. Stuff like the die and the ray gun costs like 10,000 points, so it's not like you're going to be able to keep buying and buying and buying the ammo again. It also makes it so points always matter, unlike previous games where once you had your setup, you were done ever having to worry about points in later rounds. Let's move on to the replacement of Specialist, field upgrades. They're pretty much the same thing, albeit a lot weaker than Specialist. Specialist and Black Ops 4 in particular were very much a get-out-of-jail-free code. If you ever got cornered, you could just activate it and you were good to go again. The field upgrades, however, do not have the same luxury. They are significantly weaker. However, this isn't a bad thing. They're a utility, not a crutch. And it works tremendously well. Ring of Fire does a big damage boost, but it doesn't keep you safe from zombies entering it and hurting you. Aether Shroud lets you go invisible for a brief period of time to get out of corner, but it won't help deal any actual damage to zombies, and you can still get hurt before it activates. All the field upgrades feel balanced, and none of them feel too overpowered, and I think that's exactly how it should be. Armor is a new addition, replacing the seal that's been in just about every map since late Black Ops 2. Personally, I think the armor system works a lot better than the sealed. It provides survivability, but unlike the sealed, affects your whole body rather than just your back. Unlike the sealed, however, it doesn't completely block out damage. I think this makes the system a lot more balanced, especially since you still take regular damage to your health as well as your armor damage. It's protection, but it's not protection that completely saves your ass like the sealed did. It strikes that balance of being necessary, but not so much so that it's a crutch like the sealed was. And now let's move on to the final new feature I want to talk about, support. The support arsenal are what killstreaks are, as well as a self-revive. Self-revives aren't anything new, we've seen them in Black Ops 4 for example, but this time, there's no limit on them and you can buy as many as you want, although you can only carry one at a time. This is admittedly my biggest gripe about Cold War Zombies. I would prefer self-revives to scale up and are more expensive each time you buy it. High rounds are incredibly easier, and for those who are in it for competing for the highest round, it becomes a case of whose game lasts longer before it crashes rather than just who's the better player. Even outside of high round runs, it takes a lot out of the co-op of the mode. Going down doesn't feel nearly as punishing when you don't have to rely on your teammates to revive you. Everyone is just in their own area on the map, and you almost never see each other once the map is open up. You go down, you get a self-revive, you're good to go. Your teammate doesn't have to leave the spot, they don't have to work to get to you to revive you, they just keep doing what they're doing, you revive yourself, you go right back to what you were doing. It kind of takes out that cooperative feel, and it just feels like everyone's playing just a solo game. Just make self-revive scale in price, and the problem is fixed. As for kill streaks, they all have their uses, but you're probably really only going to be using the chopper gunner. When you activate a chopper gunner, you become fully invincible, and it lasts for a while. This is a really easy escape plan that will get you out of all sorts of pickles. It doesn't become consistently good until the higher rounds admittedly, but once you reach those, you'll have a big stream of high grade salvage you can just keep on rebuying it every time you use it. But even if they are a bit overpowered, they're a lot of fun to use. Really all the supports are. And that's really about everything there is to say about Cold War Zombies. The changes they made are all fantastic for the most part, and it makes for an incredibly replayable experience. There's so many new ways to play. Rather than going for the same gun every game, you can do any gun you really want to, because all the guns are pretty much viable, unless you're the grenade launcher. Seriously, how the fuck does this thing not one-shot zombies on round 1? Come on. You can do training strategies, you can do camping strategies, you can even cycle around the whole map if you want. It's a ton of fun, and there's so many different ways to play the map and playstyles to explore on Cold War Zombies. Right now, the only map is Die Machine, but Treyarch has confirmed we're getting a new map in Season 2, and there's a lot to look forward to in the next map. Die Machine is a really good foundation, and if they keep up the quality that Die Machine was, it's a very exciting year for zombies overall. If you're a fan of zombies, especially if you fell off post Black Ops 2, I highly recommend giving Cold War a shot. It's the best zombies experience we've had in years, and it's going to be a very exciting year for content. And hey, if we do get Zombies Chronicle 2 with Victus, maybe we can have a transit that isn't as fun as watching paint dry. I've been Jagpig, thank you guys for watching, see you in the next one.